Hey guys, Super Baseball Crazy here with a video that's actually not about baseball this time. Doing my 2013 NCAA men's basketball bracket. And let's get started. For the Midwest region, we have the number one seed is Louisville, and they're playing North Carolina A&T. I got Louisville winning that game. 16's never beat a 1. Don't think it's going to happen this year. Missouri and Colorado State. I'm a huge Missouri fan. I'm going to go with Missouri here. Oklahoma State and Oregon. I actually have Oregon pulling the upset. I think a 12 generally beats a 5, and I always pick one of them. St. Louis, I think, is a bit overrated, but I have them beating North Mexico State. Memphis, or New Mexico State, excuse me. Memphis and St. Mary's, I got Memphis winning that game. Michigan State and Valparaiso, Michigan State. Cincinnati and Creighton, I have the 10 upsetting 7 here. Duke and Albany, I got Duke winning that. They did lose a 2 seed last year, though. Missouri and Louisville, again, huge Missouri fan, but I gotta go with Louisville here. Oregon and St. Louis. I gotta go St. Louis over Oregon. Memphis, Michigan State. I have Michigan State winning that game. Big Ten is a much stronger conference than I think any other conference. Cincinnati and Duke. I got Duke pulling this game out. Louisville and St. Louis. I got Louisville. And Michigan State and Duke. I actually have Michigan State because I think the Big Ten, again, very superior conference. Louisville and Michigan State. I got Louisville going to the Final Four. Over here in the South region, we got Kansas as the 1 against Western Kentucky. As much as I hate Kansas, because I am a Missouri fan, I'll pick Kansas over Western Kentucky. They're not any good. UNC versus Villanova. UNC, I have winning that game. VCU versus Akron. VCU. Michigan versus San Diego State. Big Ten, best conference, and Michigan is much better than San Diego State. UCLA, Minnesota. I have Minnesota. They are a not much better team than UCLA, but I think the Big Ten so much better. Florida versus Northwestern State. Florida, I got that and winning that game. San Diego State and Oklahoma. I want to pick Oklahoma. I don't know if San Diego State here. Florida and Georgetown, or Florida Gulf versus Georgetown, and I got Georgetown winning. Kansas versus UNC. This is a game I could very well see Kansas tripping up on, but I do have them beating UNC. VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, and Michigan. A lot of people have VCU getting there. I have Michigan beating them. Minnesota versus Florida. I think Minnesota has a good chance to win this game, but I'm picking Florida. San Diego State and Georgetown. Georgetown, I think, is overrated, but they can beat San Diego State fairly easily, I think. Kansas versus Michigan. I think Kansas is probably a better team, but I think Michigan can beat them. Again, from the Big Ten, they're a lot more battle-tested than the Big 12 with Kansas. Florida and Georgetown. I'm going to pick Florida. Then I got Florida going to the Final Four. So we got a 1 and a 3 up top here with the South and Midwest region. If I go down here to the West and the East regions, Gonzaga, probably I think the weakest 1 seed, but again, I don't think a 16 is going to beat a 1. Maybe not ever. Pittsburgh and Wichita State. I got Wichita State winning this game. Wisconsin and Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is not nearly as good as they're put up to be here. They got lucky beating Missouri in the SEC tournament. I think that's the only reason they're here, so I'm picking Wisconsin. Kansas State versus BSU or LaSalle, whoever wins that play-in game tonight. I got Kansas State winning that game. Arizona and Belmont. Arizona, I have winning this game. New Mexico versus Harvard. I think New Mexico is kind of overrated, but much better than Harvard. Notre Dame and Iowa State. I actually have Iowa State pulling the upset here. Ohio State and Iona. Ohio State, I think, is probably the best team in this region, so I have them winning over Iona. Gonzaga, Wichita State. I think Gonzaga could trip up here, but I think probably Gonzaga is going to win. Wisconsin and Kansas State. A lot of people here around Kansas City especially are worried that Wisconsin is going to beat Kansas State. But with the game being in Kansas City and being a virtual home game for Kansas State, I think they'll win this game pretty comfortably. Arizona versus New Mexico. I'm going to go with New Mexico in this one. Iowa State versus Ohio State. I got Ohio State. Gonzaga, Kansas State. I have Kansas State pulling the upset and beating Gonzaga. Though it's not going to be a huge upset, I think a lot of people are actually picking this to happen. New Mexico and Ohio State. I have Ohio State pulling this one out. And then I have Ohio State beating Kansas State to move on to the Final Four. Over here, I have Indiana beating the winner of the play-in game again tonight here. I think 16 is ever going to beat a 1. North Carolina State over Temple. I got North Carolina State. UNLV versus California. Actually, I in a couple of my brackets have picked California, but I'm going to go with UNLV here. Syracuse and Montana. I have the Qs winning that game. Butler and Bucknell. I have Butler coming out on top. Marquette and Davidson. Got Marquette. Illinois and Colorado. Illinois. Miami and Pacific. While Miami I think is overrated, they certainly can beat Pacific. Indiana, NC State. This is a game I could see Indiana tripping on, but I have them moving on. Syracuse, UNLV. Got the Qs moving on. Butler and Marquette. I actually have the Bulldogs moving on and making another fairly deep run of this tournament like they did a couple years ago. Miami and Illinois. I got Miami moving on. And I have Miami in the Elite Eight, though I do think they're a bit overrated. And then I have Indiana over Syracuse and Indiana into the Final Four. So we got Ohio State and Louisville over here. And I got to pick Ohio State to the national championship game. Florida and Indiana over here, and I have Indiana. So we have a 1 and a 2 seat, Indiana versus Ohio State. Ohio State on the right, Indiana on the left here, and I have Ohio State winning the tournament. I have them winning the game about 79 to 75, and that's my bracket. Let me know in the comments what your bracket is, and how you think I did, what your Final Four is, and who your national champion is. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.